feeling systems going. Hold on. Oh, good. So y'all get the one, and then if it goes to zero and stays at zero, then I know I can figure out pull off. Sorry, I said the F word. My bad. Apparently, yeah, there it is. And now there's not going to be even one after that. Like, I don't know why I bother. You're hella cute. Because he went back to fucking sleep. Oh, good. So that means my video's not pulled yet. Fantastic. Let me turn it up. Right, I have a joint smell. Oh, so I have to mute it because of the radio, apparently. I guess the microphone is that bad. Okay, so mute.
to learn how to better partner. If that makes sense. How should we be doing this? How should we be working together? And I think my dream is that, as we go down the road, that all research is going to begin to do that, that we're integrated, that we're partnered, that we have, patients in the room, healthcare providers with researchers. It tends to be a little bit too siloed now, and sometimes people are doing a good job with that, but not regularly enough. And that really leads to us doing research that maybe isn't so important to patients, or isn't solving the problems they need to be solved. So that's my big dream. I think we can all work together better, and we can increase the utility and the effectiveness of the work we do.
I think that's a really great dream to have, Dr. Bertens. Thank you so much for joining us on Health Matters.
Oh, thank you. It's a real pleasure.
Dr. Bertens,
sexual wellness, health that matters too.
In the Department of Psychiatry at McGill University. Next on Health Matters, an innovative transplant that can help cure type 1 diabetes.
You're listening to Health Matters with Tara Schwartz, brought to you by the McGill University Health Center Foundation. iHeartRadio, Canada's #1 streaming app for radio.
Fucking transplant a stomach.
Wherever you are, with all your favorite tacos. How lucky are we that we settle our disputes through elections and talk radio, iHeartRadio. Anytime, anywhere. Now with personalized playlists made just for you, and curated playlists, including your own ad songs. On the go with Apple CarPlay.
It's like the mothers that are fucking tensing the stuff fucking in and like dieting and then shoving it down everyone's face, and then your daughters are like fucking starving themselves to death.
13 northbound is sluggish north of the T-Can. There was an accident up around Gwinnett, has been cleared away. The inbound 40 Cavendish over to the Côte-de-Liesse exit, where you will be detoured onto the service road. 40 eastbound has been closed all weekend long between Côte-de-Liesse and the Laurentian autoroute. They're paving there. So traffic very slow on the service road around the Décarie interchange. Volume up at the top of the northbound side of Décarie. Designated detours Côte-de-Liesse westbound. Décarie southbound, a bit sluggish en route to Turcotte. You have no access to the eastbound Ville-Marie. That is the case from the 15 northbound Montreal side of the Champlain Bridge. Step into Marché Adonis to discover unique flavors for your barbecue. Until July 6th, their fishmongers offer you salmon steaks at $8.77 a pound. Let us know what you see on the roads. Call in your tips to Star 800. Next report, 12:30.
Summer is made for those classic wind in your hair, hands flying out the window moments of unexpected fun and exploration. So get out there and explore with Journey Rewards. Start saving 7 cents per liter on fuel at participating Ultramar stations. Plus, save an extra 3 cents per liter with a linked CIBC card. Go ahead, take that spontaneous road trip. Download the Journey Rewards app to start saving today. The road is calling. Journey on. Available on Google Play and the Apple App Store. Program terms and conditions apply. Visit journey.ca for more details.
Subway Eat Fresh Refresh, starring Kai,
Imagine if I didn't fuck his pot.
spokesperson, and action. Sometimes you gotta refresh to
smoking
be
pot.
fresh.
I'm still original fucking
Amazing start, Kai. Let's try again, but more like, welcome to the Subway Eat Fresh Refresh. Try your new and delicious Green Goddess dressing on the new Green Goddess subs.
The dressing is also creamy and tangy.
Subway Eat Fresh Refresh. Kai, give that legal a try.
Freshly prepared for your order. Like that?
Let's go again. Are you running a startup or just trying to get your established business back on track? You need to take care of the bookkeeping and the financial statements? Mackison Consulting can help. They'll do your accounting so you can focus on the operations. They'll take care of filing your corporate tax and business loans. Mackison Consulting, 5396 Park Avenue. Book an appointment with a Mackison consultant now at 514-276-0808. That's 514-276-0808. For all your window treatments, blinds, and upholstery needs, CM Textiles has got you covered.
Why would
They're
anybody
also
be
experts
riding
in motorization and wireless technology. Luxury window treatments that are controlled with just a push of a button.
I heard that people go on bike rides to
every step of the
walk
way to ensure all of your needs are met and your vision becomes a reality.
helps with exercising when you're actually on it.
Do it once. Do it right with CM Textiles. Online at
And it's like everyone's always on a bike here and out with a helmet.
CM
Fucking weird.
I'm Misumi Takahashi. When news breaks, Montrealers turn to CTV News, the team you trust to tell the stories that matter to you. It's your home. Make it your news.
Watch CTV News at 6 and visit ctvnewsmontreal.ca. If you're a customer customer at Bossy Bowl and you've got your order for the week, all you
Very
need to do is
strange.
set the table and sit down to a civilized meal. And if you're not a regular
That sounds
customer,
very
all you
angry.
need to do is register and order. And by the way, Bossy Bowl is hiring. They need staff to prep, cook, and package the best prepared meals in Montreal. If you've got experience and want to join a great team at a competitive salary, all you need to do is send your CV to Caroline at BossyBowl.com. That's CAROLINE at BossyBowl.com.
Introducing Tim's new loaded bowls. The same delicious loaded wrap ingredients like tasty
Bossy
greens,
Bowl,
seasoned chicken, and habanero or cilantro lime sauce are now in a bowl. Tim's new loaded bowls and wraps. Try one today at participating restaurants in Canada.
Welcome to Health Matters with Tara Schwartz, brought to you by the McGill University Health Center Foundation.
I'm Kelly Albert. Welcome back to Health Matters on CJAD 800. Physicians and researchers are always looking for innovative ways to treat illness. My next guest recently performed an islet transplant on a patient in Quebec. This unique transplant is changing the lives of some patients with type 1 diabetes. Dr. Stephen Paraskevas is a transplant surgeon at the MUHC and leads the pancreas and islet cell transplant program. Dr. Paraskevas is actually the first surgeon to perform this procedure in Quebec, and he joins me now. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Paraskevas.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
So in very
I'm gonna
general
lie
terms, can you tell me what is an islet transplant?
So, people with type 1 diabetes have, as a result of their disease, lost the ability to control their blood sugars. An autoimmune response has destroyed the cells in their pancreas that make insulin in response to ingested glucose. So one of the ways of restoring control of their sugars is to do a transplant, for example, of the whole pancreas, which does work, but it's major surgery and it has a fairly significant rate of complications and the
Here's an
like.
idea. Stop
An
fucking
islet
eating.
transplant is a very minimally invasive
Wonder why
way
you guys
of
are in a
restoring
fucking food
someone's
crisis.
ability to make their own insulin
Just
by
fucking use it,
taking
honestly.
just the cell clusters in the pancreas of a donor organ and transplanting only the cells that make insulin. And these are in these tiny clusters of cells called islets of Langerhans. And that is basically comprising only about 1% of the volume of the whole pancreas. And it's only a few cc's of tissue, and that's the entirety of the cells that make insulin in response to sugar. So we take these, we take a donated organ from a deceased donor, we take the pancreas and we purify the islets from the pancreas in a special procedure in a very
Sounds like a
unique
fucking terrible
facility
idea.
that is made for manipulating and culturing human cells that are going to be used for clinical purposes. Then when we are sure that we have enough of these cells and that they are strong and viable and they make lots of insulin, we take them and we infuse them through a procedure in radiology. Actually, it's just under local anesthesia. The patient is totally awake and they just have a little needle in there just under their rib cage. And we infuse those islets into the patient's liver. Now, why the liver and not the pancreas? Because the liver has kind of a unique anatomy.
Because if you fuck it up, you can take a piece of someone else's, you fucking pancreas, you're fucked.
And it can tolerate, without damage, this sort of infusion of tissue. Even though it's a tiny amount of tissue, they look like tiny, tiny grains of sand. They cannot be safely put into other organs, but the liver tolerates that very well, and the islets rest there, they engraft there, and they begin making their insulin and glucagon in response to changes in blood sugar, and they can completely restore normal control of sugars and render the individual free from needing to take insulin anymore.
In conversation with Dr. Stephen Paraskevas, a transplant surgeon at the MUHC. So basically, this procedure can cure type 1 diabetes. Is that correct?
Well, we talk about cures and treatments, and I believe it would be safe to say that a cure would involve no further therapy if the person were to be free from taking insulin and have nothing else to take. But as a transplant that comes from another person, just like a heart or lungs or liver or kidney, we need the recipient to take anti-rejection treatments, which are necessary to prevent them from rejecting these cells. These are still quite safe to take, but as it stands, this is a very good treatment for diabetes, and not yet what we would say is a cure. It's a bit of a trade-off, and for that reason, we currently offer this to people who have perhaps the most frailty or the most problematic control of their blood sugars, people who have what is called brittle diabetes, whose blood sugars can drop very dramatically within minutes or hours without them necessarily feeling their sugar dropping, because normally it creates symptoms. Some people with diabetes lack these symptoms, and they can black out unexpectedly due to low blood sugar. They lose their ability to function properly. They lose their ability to drive, to work in certain capacities, and sometimes they become even housebound as a result. So currently, because of this trade-off of risks and benefits, we offer islet transplantation to these most vulnerable individuals who have the most to gain. But as treatments become more and more advanced, we anticipate that we'll be someday able to replace cells without the need for any other medications. And in that case, we really do have something that resembles a cure. And there's developments on the horizon. They still might be years away where we're able to grow islets in a lab and tailor them to a particular individual, and do so in a way, or implant them in a way that they are protected from the immune system. And then we're talking about very, very advanced and exciting therapies. Those are on the horizon, and actually, as a result of having our islet transplant program, that we're able to take these next steps.
I think it's so fascinating that, you called them like little grains of sand can just completely change a person's life and have them, create their own insulin and stabilize this. So you and your team recently performed a transplant surgery in April, at the end of April. So can you tell me what performing that procedure is like? What is it like to do this surgery?
It's very exciting for us, and as you can imagine, there's a large team involved. Nurses on the transplant unit, our radiologist, Dr. Tatiana Cabrera, who actually performs the infusion, and my lab team, who have spent time performing the purification, the isolation of the islets in our clean room, which is on the McGill campus. And so there's a lot of work that's gone into it. Even the recovery team that has recovered the organs. So it's very exciting to see that come to fruition with the infusion, and see particularly the recipient so excited to have this change in their life. And what's really exciting actually is when they come back a few weeks later and they can already tell you that their sugars are stabilized and they're requiring less and less insulin. And I recently saw this person last week, and they completely stopped taking insulin after 30 years of having to manage their diabetes with insulin injections. So that's really kind of the ultimate. When we see the result being so dramatic, I think it's very exciting for everyone.
Absolutely. I just got goosebumps with you telling me that. Dr. Paraskevas, thank you so much for joining us on the show and talking about these remarkable innovations.
It's my pleasure.
Dr. Stephen Paraskevas is a transplant surgeon at the MUHC and leads the pancreas and islet cell transplant program. Next on Health Matters, the outstanding, life-saving, and life-changing care given at the intensive care unit.
Yes,
Good
traffic
afternoon. It's
weather.
12:31. I'm Tom Whalen with a CTV News update. Here's what's making news right now. Gunfire in Montreal overnight. 2 separate incidents resulted in 2 victims in hospital with non-life-threatening injuries and 1 arrest. Police still looking for another suspect. Air Canada and several U.S. airlines have cut their summer schedules because they don't have the staff to handle increased demand. But rising fares and worries about massive flight delays and cancellations aren't stopping many people from traveling this weekend. Last count, there were 25 canceled or delayed flights on the Trudeau International Departure Board. And people from Africa, South America, and Asia who are planning to attend, along with some who are scheduled to speak at the International AIDS Conference here in Montreal at the end of the month, still struggling to get visas to come here. Now there's pressure on the Trudeau Liberals to step up its visa approval process. With the latest now from the CJD 800 Traffic Center, here's...
I don't care.
On 13 northbound, no longer seeing too much volume following the accident that was up around Glen. The inbound 40 that remains closed weekend-long road work. They are paving the stretch of the 40 between Côte-de-Liesse and the Laurentian autoroute. So volume from Cavendish. Traffic is very slow on the service road as you make your way between the exit and the Décarie interchange over to the St. Croix area.
Paranoid. I'm a fucking big druggeroonie. Fucking stupid. Fucking rich do drugs. I'm fucking fair. Oh. Oh. Yeah. At least if I die, I know that someone's gonna fucking come handle shit. I still have people. Real people that actually have my back, that'll actually come handle shit. It's gonna suck that I need to die to get there.
Now's the time to refresh your decor.
Oh, I hate you. It's the worst. Yeah, I'm fucking to rearrange my decor. Fuck off. Fucking douche. Eat shit, Dom. Or fucking total fucking asshole.
JJ Cardinal Funeral Home. Let their family serve your family with understanding, compassion, and integrity. Call 514-631-1511 or visit jjcardinal.ca.
The wait is over. The ultimate race across the country is back. This summer, we're ready to go with the new season of The Amazing Race Canada. Get into it starting Tuesday at 9, 8 Central only on CTV.
Welcome to Health Matters with Tara Schwartz, brought to you by the McGill University Health Center Foundation.
I'm Kelly Albert, and this is Health Matters. In mid-May, the MUHC Foundation launched a campaign to support the intensive care unit at the MUHC. This department is highly specialized to care for the most vulnerable and most ill patients. It is the last resort when your life is on the line, and the ICU has always been providing outstanding life-saving care, but the COVID-19 pandemic has stretched their resources thin. So far, in our campaign to raise $150,000, we are at about $90,000, which is remarkable so far. But we wanted to share stories of the patients whose lives have been touched by the ICU. Here to share her story is Dr. Ingrid Kovich, who has a rare neurological disease and has spent some time in the ICU at the MUHC. Ingrid, thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So tell me how your health changed 8 years ago with this diagnosis.
Yeah, well, to start with, really for the bulk of my life, I was incredibly healthy, like really extremely lucky in that respect. And I was very active. I played 2 varsity sports in college. I continued to play sort of high-level sports beyond that and ran marathons and was really very, very active. And then about in my mid to late 40s, I began to notice some muscle weakness. And I first noticed it actually when I was playing hockey, but then it began to affect sort of my daily life. And I would sort of lose my balance and trip. And I had a couple of falls down flights of stairs. And after the second fall down the flight of stairs, I went to see a neurologist, and that led me to Dr. O'Farrell, who's a neuromuscular specialist at the Neuro. And she did a muscle biopsy and found that I had a significant disease of my muscles.
So, I mean, you're a medical doctor yourself. Was it, how did being in the care of other physicians have an impact on you? Because it must be weird having medical knowledge and also being a patient.
Yeah, I think it was more weird simply because of the contrast with my general life and my feeling that I was, my body could do sort of anything I asked of it. So I think it was more the contrast of just having been so healthy and active. But yes, there was also the sense of being kind of on the other side, of the gown, now requiring care. So it was a real adjustment on multiple levels.
Absolutely. In conversation with Dr. Ingrid Kovich, who has a rare neurological disease, she has spent some time at the MUHC's ICU. So tell me, how does this disorder impact your everyday life? You mentioned falls down the stairs, you mentioned muscle weakness. How does it affect your day-to-day?
Right. Well, so now the muscle weakness progressed very quickly at first, but then luckily has been fairly stable the last few years. So I do need leg braces and some sort of canes or poles to walk. Because it's a muscle disease, it affects muscles in all my different systems. So it affects my breathing muscles. So I do need a machine, a ventilator to help me breathe at night. I have a lot of cardiac arrhythmias. It affects the heart muscle too. But the thing that's really sort of unusual is that it has contributed to these kind of crazy crises where I have sudden, very high rises of my blood potassium. And it's these crises that have landed me repeatedly in the ICU to help with my breathing, to help with arrhythmias, etc. So it's affected me really in those are the primary ways.
And you mentioned it, you've been in the care of the ICU multiple times. Describe to me the care that you and your loved ones receive while you're in the ICU.
Yeah, so I've been in really the most frequently for these crises, but I've also been admitted for rapid infections back in November, and then again just about a month ago. And then actually 2 weeks ago, I had a cardiac arrest and was resuscitated and was in the care of the ICU again. So I've really been in their care
Isn't that
multiple
what
times
Alzheimer's does,
and
though?
for a range of different problems. And I have to say that the care, irrespective of what landed me there, has been absolutely unbelievable, both in terms of the expertise of the staff and also just the kindness that they've extended, which you'd think that there would be no time to do because you are, overwhelmed with just keeping people alive.
Yeah,
But
so God
it's really
forbid
been
the
the
fucking doctors and
kindness
nurses are gonna fucking
that
treat
has
you with
struck me
kindness.
the most.
I just want you to fucking get her
And in
done.
addition to caring for the patients who are critically ill, you also have a responsibility to communicate with their families. And I think this is something that my husband, of course, appreciates far more than I do, but really is an impressive part of what the staff in the unit is able to do. Not just keep you alive, but explain what's going on to your family.
I've had the privilege of going
You have
into the
explained
ICU at the
not really very
MUHC
much to
and
me
seeing the
about
staff
your
that
own
works there.
illness.
And you said it exactly. They're super highly specialized. They have training courses to do and continuing education to do. And yet they are so generous with their time. And you would see them speaking to family members and having conversations with them and making sure that their family members are just as stable and good as their patients are. And it's really remarkable to see the staff that works there.
It is remarkable, and it's an army. I mean, I think people don't really appreciate the incredible machinery necessary to keep even a single patient alive. And by machinery, I don't just mean equipment, although there is plenty of that, but the entire personnel, the army of doctors and nurses and technicians and respiratory therapists and orderlies and housekeeping and just everything that helps make that place run, that allows the staff to be able to take that time to support the families in addition to the patients.
In conversation with Dr. Ingrid Kovich, who is a patient who spent some time in the MUHC's ICU. Now, I mentioned it off the top. We have a campaign going on right now to raise $150,000 for the ICU. This is to support the staff, their mental health and well-being, continuing education, give them additional equipment that they need to make sure that the ICU is the best that it can be. So, why was it important for you to share your story in conjunction with this campaign? Why did you want people to know
because they're
what
supposed
you've
to be
lived?
compensated.
Well, first of all, I think I really feel very compelled to give back in some way, given that I have benefited from the expertise and the incredible care of this unit on so many occasions. But also, I feel that, this is a unit that most people don't really think about until either they or their family find themselves needing this uber specialized care. And so I felt that it was
uber
really
specialized
necessary
care
to communicate
like
to
a
people
scientific
that
phrasing.
any of us can land there at any time.
No, I was
We
born
can
there,
be,
and I
for sure,
stayed there
if you
for my
have-
whole
if you're
adolescence.
a little bit older, if you have underlying
Should've
medical
shares
conditions,
in
you
your
may be
fucking
more
elevators.
likely. But there are
I'm good when
myriad
doctors and
reasons
nurses
why
know you by
anyone
name.
who is even previously in perfect health might end up in this unit. I mean, COVID has been a perfect example. There are also, accidents and traumas. And I think people need to be reminded
oil burn,
of the
dog
incredible work that's being done there. Because most people,
Steam burn.
thankfully, don't have personal
Broken knuckle.
experience.
But I didn't go to
with the
hospital for that one. I
ICUs.
wasn't allowed.
So people do really need to appreciate and understand that this is a level of exhaustive and extensive care that is there for everyone.
It really is. I think, it's so important to support this cause. If you are inspired by Ingrid's story and would like to donate to the ICU campaign, you can go to our website, muhcfoundation.com. If you look at the Get Involved section on our homepage, you can find out more information about the truly incredible, outstanding care that is provided in the intensive care unit. Dr. Ingrid Kovich, thank you so much for joining us on Health Matters and sharing your story.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks again for having me.
Next on Health Matters, Let's Play Ball, a softball tournament fundraising to support breast cancer patients.
Now an update from the CJAD 800 Traffic Center.
13 North, some speed reductions north of the T-Can as you make your way into Laval across the Bisson Bridge. Have been going on the T-Can Cavendish over to Côte de Liesse, where you will be detoured onto the service road. There is road work. They are paving a stretch of the 40 over to the Laurentian en route. So we are seeing a lot of volume, difficult drive on the service road and up at the top of the northbound side of Décarie, where you will be detoured onto the westbound side of the Côte de Liesse. That is what TQ is suggesting. The 20 eastbound had some volume ahead of Turcotte. You have no access from 15 north and Décarie southbound onto
Shut up with the fucking stupid fucking traffic.
From the West Island, a bit of volume on the 30 eastbound. Has some delays around on Route 50. Scotiabank's ultimate and preferred packages have unique rewards for unique people like you. Visit scotiabank.com/ultimate 300 to see how you
I missed my nephew's birthday.
See on the roads, calling your tickets to Star 800. Next to Ford.
Tara Schwartz, brought to you by the McGill University Health Center Foundation. Rush. March moments in time.
So this Bible. Spin on her. Oh.
Over 50 years. It's your rush.
Imagine what they fucking say about me when he's around. Like, thinks Andy's a fucking piece of shit now.
The best source of exceptional, top quality luxury furniture, custom upholstery, and accessories. Imported from Europe and around the world for every room and every taste. For a truly unique experience, professional interior design advice, and great service, visit Mobilart, 8216 Devonshire, west of Décarie. Mobilart.ca. Everyone loves Italian food, and you can bring delicious and authentic Italian food home from Restaurant Di Medna. They've been serving the East End's best Italian dishes since 1971.
He even told you it was gonna be his fucking birthday.
Or better yet, load up your freezer with Di Medna's restaurant quality frozen meals. Di Medna's famous Montreal style pizzas, or lasagnas, pastas, sauces, and more to make dinner easy and delicious. Visit DiMedna.com to see the full menu
I know you don't give a shit about your family.
Favorite Italian restaurant.
You don't give a shit about mine, but I give a shit about Charlie.
July 9th in Video Park with Sylvie Dios's Women of Soul and Justice Saladino. It's free, and so is the market. West Island.
It's only a matter of time when he starts fucking hating me too, I guess.
Spectacular with stellar performances. We're not here to transcend. We're here to destroy.
I want a story with a happy ending.
Westworld, new season now streaming only on Crave. Subscribe now at crave.ca.
Darlene, Dave, Ashley, Doug, and Charlie.
Farmers looking for a partner. Think you could be the perfect match?
Anyone can apply to get on CTV's new matchmaking show, Farming for Love.
Go to ctv.ca/farmingforlove.
Casting closing soon. It's the summer promo at Rowan Martineau. Celebrate by freshening up your home with fresh items, like a fridge starting at $1,079.
When I fucking and actually have a chance, fuck not be fucked up.
$45. Hot, right? But imagine it in stainless. Now that's fresh. Or a completely new mattress for as low as $599. So you can wake up feeling fresh as a daisy. The summer promo ends August 3rd at Rowan Martineau, online or in store.
You can create a happier, healthier lifestyle for you and your family. L'Oréal La Santé, in partnership with the MUHC, is Quebec. The bilingual health and wellness magazine, giving you breaking medical news and stories that will help you live a more active, healthy lifestyle. Look for tennis phenom Felix Auger-Aliassime on the front cover. You can pick up your free copy of L'Oréal La Santé magazine at all MUHC hospitals, pharmacies, grocery stores, and health food chains island-wide, or read us online at montreallasanté.com.
You guys don't even give the newspaper anymore.
Summer drink days are on at McDonald's McCafe. Try a medium peach passion fruit.
The only one who really used to read it anyway.
Or enjoy a consistently rich, smooth, delicious small McCafe
Fucking got me fun of for reading the newspaper.
McDonald's FDA for details.
Welcome to Health Matters with Tara Schwartz,
Why
brought
would
to you
you
by the
do
McGill
that?
University Health
I don't
Center
want to know
Foundation.
what's going on in the place
I'm Kelly
like
Albert. This is Health Matters on CJAD 800. Do you miss watching the Expos? Well, you can get your fill with the Pink Charity Softball Tournament and support an excellent cause. This tournament has a number of women playing softball and fundraising to support the MUHC's breast clinic
What
and
the
the breast
fuck does
clinic's
that have to
wellness
do with the
program.
Expos?
The 2019 edition of this softball tournament actually raised $31,000, and I'm sure they want to beat their goal this year. Kathy Kennedy is the organizer of the Pink Charity
Oh,
Softball Tournament and joins
good,
me now. Thank you so much for being here,
Kathy.
Kathy.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to
Yay!
be here to discuss this wonderful cause.
I
So what
hate you.
inspired you to start the softball tournament?
And
you know,
your
back in
whole
2010, I
Jetta's
was
the
actually
only one that
diagnosed
I
with
like in
breast
that
cancer
family, and you
myself,
guys call her
and
Meg.
I am cancer-free
Your
today,
own kid.
thanks to the
Like from
wonderful
Family
work
Guy.
at the breast center at the Royal Victoria Hospital,
I
including
hate
Dr.
you.
Medarisian's team. I went through a
Fucking
double
psychotic.
mastectomy back in 2010, and with that being said,
Oh,
you know, I also, you know, I'm a woman that has been playing softball for over 30 years.
no, okay,
Around
okay,
the circuit,
all right.
West Island, all the different tournaments that happen, including my own league. And I just, you know, I got together with one of my friends on the league, and I suggested, you know, why don't we put together a softball tournament specifically to raise money for breast cancer and research and or the MUHC breast clinic, you know, because during our summer months when we get all the camaraderie
played
together,
ball with this
all the women
lady's
playing
fucking
that we play
family.
with for years on end.
Jenna drank at my house once and got
and
super plate like
many of
fucking
those
shit face
women
wasted, jumped in the
succumbed to
snow
breast
like basically
cancer, as
naked.
well as other female
And then she puked in my
cancers.
basement.
As well as
And
other
my
cancers,
mom has
unfortunately.
OCD
So we kind
germaphobe,
of
so
thought
she
it was
almost fucking threw her out of the
a
house.
great way to bring the community together.
I was like,
for
nah,
our
Carrie Ann will fucking kill her.
cause such as raising money
Carrie Ann
for
is
breast
the
cancer,
best.
and in particular, in our case, for the MUHC's
Chelsea
breast
too,
clinic.
man.
So this is really
Fucking
how
Chelsea
the
is
Pink
also
came
champion
together.
player.
Myself and a number of organizers are involved in getting this up and running
The
every
fucking
year.
loudest mouth
Unfortunately, the
on
last
the
2 years
fucking
with COVID,
field
we've been kind of
every
put
fucking
on the back
time.
burner, but so
Fucking
we're
hated
back
playing
in
with
full
Chelsea.
swing, and we're really hoping to knock this one out of the park this year and beat
Chris
our
is a total asshole.
our
Mike is
last
like doesn't
level of
speak.
donations.
So
You know, the whole MUHC breast clinic
I hate
for
you
me
so
was
much.
extremely helpful and therapeutic in my recovery, and I believe that, you know, when we have these type of clinics available to us, it allows us to come together with other women who are going through the same journey. And I think it's tremendous. It's a tremendous clinic that needs to be supported. And so this is one of the reasons why we've chosen that.
That's fucked up. I actually
we
know
have,
this
of
lady.
course, helped to donate to purchase of equipment, etc.
Actually been to
But
her
for the
house.
last couple of years, we've been focusing mainly
She
on the
lives in a
breast
house
clinic
now,
because
too.
it's not a clinic that's supported in any way other than fundraisers. So we felt it was important to continue supporting them.
Kathy Kennedy is the organizer of
Kathy
the Pink
Ann.
Charity Softball Tournament. Thepink.ca is the website if you would like to know
Is
more.
it Kathy? No,
I
Kathy
think
is
you
the
mentioned
cooler
a very
Ann. I
important
think
part
it's
because
Carrie Ann.
The MUHC Foundation supports
Auntie
the
Kathy
breast
is the
clinic
cooler
and
one.
supports the breast clinic wellness program that you're fundraising for as well. I mean, talk to me about you mentioned the care that you received with Dr. Medarisian and his team there. Talk to me about that experience. For those who don't know what it's like, you know, it's so scary to get a cancer diagnosis and to go through, you know, cancer treatments. What is it like to be cancer free now and come out on the other end and want to give back this way?
What did any of this have to do with the Expos? Is my huge question.
When you first receive that bad news, it's a shock, of course, and then you have to sort of find a way to understand it and to live with it. And I think the important thing is that once you do get diagnosed, and again, one of the most important things for women is you really need to be proactive and you know, check yourself regularly, because early diagnosis is key here, and many lives are saved because of that. And so with the help of the breast clinic and all of the different therapy that they have there, be it, you know, learning how to, you know, fix your hair,
I used to play
or
that
your
tournament.
makeup, or just, you know,
The
getting into groups
Star
where
or
other women
whatever.
have experienced the same thing and being able to talk about your experience and your journey. It's very helpful, because unless you've been there,
you really can't understand it, you know. So if you're speaking with other women or men that have gone down this road, they understand where you're coming from. So it's a good way to release and let people know, you know, how you feel, and it's very therapeutic and healing to one who's gone through this.
Absolutely, that support system is so obvious when you speak to the patients that come out of the breast clinic, how they had a mentor, they were partnered with a patient who's been through what they've been through. It's so remarkable to hear those connections that are built through this shared experience.
That's right. Yeah, it's very, very important.
So tell me about the event, the Pink Charity Softball Tournament. It's taking place at 72 St. Charles Avenue in Dorval. It starts Friday, July 8th at 6 p.m. and it goes the whole weekend. Describe to me what this tournament's like.
Right, it's a great tournament. It's actually the tournament of the season, and the women that play in this tournament, they are so excited and so looking forward to it because, like I say, we were on a hiatus there for 2 years with COVID, but everybody's really, really hyped about it. It's a great tournament to come out and have fun. We have different levels of balls, so it's the girls that have never even picked up a bat before have come out and they put on their pink T-shirts and they try to play softball and just have a grand old time. So we have different caliber of play. The event itself it runs, as you say, across the weekend. We have parks that it's at, but the main park, of course, is St. Charles Park in Dorval. And we will be having, of course, some live music on Saturday at 5 p.m. It's a West Island band called Missing Experience. They have supported us in the past, and this particular band is great fun rock and roll, and they actually do this out of the goodness of their hearts. They are a band that goes around the circuit doing fundraisers just because. So, it would be nice to have people come out and, get a little dancing on. And we also have a fabulous barbecue, which, we have
never been to the DDO Canada Day.
Does come out and he's flipping burgers just like everybody else. So it's really good. And, the other thing is, too, by having Dr. Metarisian with us over the weekend, if girls have concerns or have questions, he's there and he's open to answer any questions that some of the women may have. So it's really nice to have him out there with us supporting. He actually gets out onto the ball field and umpires. So it's a super weekend. We have a silent auction. We have a 50-50 raffle with tons of door prizes. So it's just, it's a fun weekend for everybody. And it's, like I say, we like to bring the whole community into this. So come out with your family, your friends, your grandma, your children. It's a lot of fun. And we're just, we're praying, of course, to the weather gods that it's going to work with us this year.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. So if you would like to either donate or go out and watch, you can find more information on the pink.ca. So this is the Pink Charity Softball Tournament from Friday, July 8th at 6 p.m. until Sunday, July 10th at 10 p.m. Kathy Kennedy is the organizer. Kathy, thank you so much for joining me on the show. I really appreciate it.
I thank you very much for inviting me, and we look forward to a great tournament. And, the more people that come out, the merrier. We're just looking to raise as many dollars as we can for this wonderful cause.
Absolutely. I'm Kelly Albert. Thank you for tuning in. What would you like to hear about on the show? Write to me at healthmatters@muhcfoundation.com. You can also follow us on social media or sign up for our newsletter at muhcfoundation.com. I hope you'll join us again next Sunday. Thank you so much for listening to Health Matters, and stay healthy.
Welcome to Health Matters. Tara Schwartz, brought to you by the McGill University Health Center Foundation.
The opinions expressed in the preceding program were provided for general information purposes only and should not be construed as advice from CJ 8800 or Bell Media. Listeners should always consult their own qualified healthcare provider with medical questions or concerns. The preceding was sponsored content.
This newscast brought to you by Electroaid, heating and air conditioning specialists for over 70 years. They service all brands, no matter who put them in. 514-333-7460. Electroaid.ca. It's 1 o'clock. I'm Tom Whalen with your CTV News update. Sunny and 23 downtown. Weather details in minutes. Here's what's making news right now.
Another night of gun violence with two separate incidents overnight in the city. The first happened just before 1 this morning when a man on McDonald Avenue in the Snowden district answered his front door. This is Montreal Police spokesperson Raphael Bergeron.
The suspect attended the residence of the victim, knocked on the door. The suspect fired a shot towards the victim.
What did he do?
The 34-year-old victim has serious injuries to his lower body and is now in stable condition in hospital. Police still looking for the suspect who took off before they arrived. Then a couple of hours later, just as the bars were closing downtown, a man in his 20s pulled a gun on another 20-something when a fight between the two became out of hand on Saint Laurent near Milton. The victim in hospital in stable condition, the suspect in that shooting behind bars. There is no shortage of unhappy airline travelers, both here in Canada and in the U.S. this long weekend, with people stuck in terminals after carriers canceled hundreds of flights. In recent weeks, logistical problems have led to the long lineups, snarled connections, and growing piles of unclaimed baggage at many Canadian airports. Air Canada has cut more than 9,500 flights through this month and August, and WestJet Airlines has confirmed it is flying 32% fewer flights in and out of Toronto's Pearson Airport in July than it did before the pandemic. At last check, there were 25 delayed or canceled flights on the departure board at Trudeau International. Meanwhile, New Brunswick's education minister is lashing out at Air Canada. Dominic Carty says the airline is incompetent because it decided this weekend to cancel a flight scheduled for tomorrow that would have taken him and 4 officials to a meeting in Regina.
Carty posted a series of tweets saying the last-minute cancellation means New Brunswick will not be at a meeting of the Council of Ministers of Education. Carty followed up by calling for deregulation of the airline industry. The minister says Canadians should start asking why they pay more for flights than anyone in the world.
Because we pay more for everything than anyone ever, all the time.
Online debate with someone asking why he couldn't simply set up a Zoom call. Air Canada could not be immediately reached for comment. Mike McDonald, the Canadian Press, Halifax.
More than 200 AIDS organizations want Immigration Minister Sean Fraser to get visas processed for people from Africa, South America, and Asia who are planning to attend a major conference in Montreal later this month. Conference organizers are describing visa delays and denials as potential disaster for the event. An official with an international organization of HIV plus youth says the board's chair and other employees have been denied visas. Fraser's office says the immigration department has been working closely with the event organizers and that applications have been assessed in a timely manner. Canadian retailers are struggling with higher shipping costs as delivery companies raise their fuel surcharges in reaction to soaring gas prices. Some carriers are charging up to 40% more, which is especially challenging for stores with high online return rates, such as apparel and footwear companies. The Retail Council of Canada says so far, most companies are trying to absorb the extra domestic shipping charges and are trying to find savings elsewhere. With the latest now from the CJAD 800 Traffic Center, here's Jill Fitzgerald.
Weekend-long road work continues on the inbound TCAN. You will be forced off at the Côte-de-Liesse exit, so the service route around to carry over to Saint Croix is particularly heavy. Things open up after the Laurentian autoroute. To carry northbound, paying the price up from Royal Mount, TQ designated detour.
Constantly fucking frustrated all the whole time. I don't know. Okay. Oh, big though. They rust. It sounded like buttons. Okay, I guess I'll go get the dog and take the fucking dog for a walk. I'm assuming someone's seasonal allergies already fucking started up. And they started gaming early. You're welcome for breakfast, by the way. Why do I do nice things for you? I don't know. Because victims will fucking back their abusers? I don't know. So I have no fucking choice but to back my abuser? He's going to say thank you. Okay. Now at least I know all the fucking other cops are busy with St. Henry. Which is why they literally are not here at all. Oh.
Bernie Sanders independent. He's not independent. He ran on the Democratic ticket and joined the Democratic Party to do it. Yeah. That makes him a Democrat. Trump chose to run with the Republicans. He could have ran an independent.
I thought we were fucking Canadian news. Sorry.
He chose to be a Republican. So that's where it ends right there.
Why the fuck it? You know what? I just can't imagine why we're talking about Trump. No fucking clue why we would be talking about Trump.
Author of We have to say stuff politicians say. Politicians say, but it's the SH word. The funniest, dumbest, most outrageous things ever uttered by our leaders. Does Donald Trump make it into this book?
Absolutely. The qualifications to get into this book, we had to have some type of qualification, and what we did was you had to either run for public office or have held public office.
Okay, so give me some of the crazy things that politicians have said.
Al Gore, he made the great quote that zebras don't change their spots. Oh, he's right, they don't. Last time I checked, I don't think they have spots. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think,
Super
said
cereal.
that gay
Man,
marriage should be between a man and a woman. And, you go for, and the one that I love that really sends chills down me is George W. Bush. He says a quote, and bear in mind, I don't have it perfectly. I don't have the book in front of me. But he says a quote that someday some smart guy is going to come in and find out what exactly happened here in the Oval Office. Now, I took that quote and thought, gee, is that a confession?
Do you see Donald Trump as a threat, or how do you see him?
I know Donald. I've known him for 25 years. I don't support him because I disagree with him on a great many of the things. See, I'm anti-war. I want to get out of these Middle Eastern wars as quick as possible. That's why I'm for Governor Johnson. And I'm also completely opposed to Trump's immigration and building walls and things. Come on. Ronald Reagan was the icon of the Republican Party. He's the modern-day god. And it wasn't his quote, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Ronald Reagan couldn't even be a Republican today. Private sector people don't get this big fact. The private sector is
Did you ever run for president, Jesse?
I gave it serious
fucking
the Libertarians contacted me twice.
the wrestler.
You to do it.
Yeah.
But I couldn't go. I was up for the run. I was up to debate these bozos because I beat them like I did before. But I couldn't go all in on doing it for 4 years. I'm 65, and I thought I'd rather be surfing in Mexico in the winter. And you have to be all in. Otherwise, you're cheating the voters too.
Just going back to the wrestling, do you have
to
any
report for
lingering injuries
RT.
from wrestling? Like, are you all good?
Absolutely, you do.
Yeah.
There was a point in my career I wrestled 63 consecutive nights in a row.
Wow.
There's guys that would beat that to death. That ain't even long compared to some of the guys I know. I've had my hip replaced completely with hip resurfacing. I have other certain little issues, but I think I got out. I got out when I was 40. Roughly, and I think I got out at the right time, and so I'm doing pretty good per se. But also remember too, I was a Navy frogman for 6 years, jumping out of airplanes and what they call a SEAL today, and doing all of that stuff too. So it's not like when I had my hip done, I was all stunned because I said, "My God, I wore something out." And my wife turned to me and said, "Are you kidding? Being a Navy SEAL for 6 years, wrestling for 15 years, and every other thing you've done to your body, you're surprised you wore something out." So, yeah, sure. I have my I have a few physical problems. You can't help but not have them.
He's been many things, but you know him best as Jesse the Body Ventura.
Yeah, Jesse
One of the
Ventura,
most famous goals in Montreal Canadiens history was scored by Guy Lafleur in 1979. Game 7 against the Boston Bruins to tie up the game towards the end of the third period after a too-many-men penalty was called against the Boston Bruins. Scotty Bowman was the coach of the Montreal Canadiens at the time. He was on the Andrew Carter Morning Show to promote his appearance at the Apex Summit. Listen here to how after nearly 30 years, he's able to recall the smallest details about that game.
Well, it was probably the closest we ever came in that 4-year span, to being eliminated. We were down to the last, little over a minute, I think. We were down. That was quite a game because it kind of seesawed back and forth. We were in pretty good shape, and then they scored a goal from behind the net with about, 3 or 4 minutes to go. And we started, then I think what happened really, in all fairness to Don Cherry, we were double shifting Guy Lafleur the last 5 minutes of the game, trying to get the tying goal. And they had a very good shadow that series named Donald Marcotte. Every time Guy Lafleur came on the ice, Donald Marcotte jumped over the boards and was really just following him around. And I think that confused a little bit when he was double shifted, and Donald Marcotte knew he had to go on the ice, and
God damn, every time.
The two of them came on the ice, and they must have played for at least 10 seconds with they had 6 skaters and the goalie, and we were kind of yelling from the bench. We were yelling about him, and he was kind of turning his head. I think he was hoping that, the player might be able to jump back on the bench, but it was on our side of the rink because they were on the opposite side at that time. So basically, they played for about 10 seconds, and then they called the too many men on the ice, and we ended up tying the game, and we were in tough shape that game because the last 10 minutes of the game, one of our top defensemen, Guy Lapointe, was injured. He didn't finish the game. And we got into overtime, and I said, "Well, we're not gonna lose." Harry Robinson were on the ice.
Your breakfast.
Was on for each of those 10 minutes, wow. and sometimes they're on together. So I just took a gamble that if I'm gonna lose this game, we're gonna lose with guys that play a lot of minutes, and of course there's a great play from Serge. Serge Savard made a great play on the defensive side because I think it was Middleton come in on him and on Serge, and Serge took the puck away and threw a long pass on the opposite side to Mario Tremblay, and he went down, and it was like a 2-on-1 sort of. And he threw it clean-cut goal, and of course that propelled us into the final for the fourth straight year.
You know what? Two things occur to me listening to Scotty Bowman's listening to you tell that story. One is that how the heck do you remember that? And the other one is how did was Guy Lafleur able to double shift when he was smoking in the locker room in between periods?
That was exaggerated. That might have occurred a couple of. It wasn't constant. I mean, that was. I read about that. They've stretched it to say it happened on the bench and everything. Stories get longer life as time goes on.
Yeah, well, Guy Lafleur told me that there were 9 guys smoking in the locker room in between periods.
A lot of players smoked in those days. There's no question. All throughout the league, it was kind of you see. I even see some commercials and ads. One of the famous ones, of course, is Arnold Palmer.
Yeah,
he's endorsing. I think it was Lucky Strike cigarette. Yeah.
Boy, it's amazing. I mean, your recall is incredible. I mean,
it was a big game for us because we don't win that game. We're stopped at our third cup.
Legendary NHL coach Scotty Bowman. Coming up, 2 actors from 2 of your favorite 70s TV shows, Barry Williams of The Brady Bunch and Donnie Most of Happy Days. Tell us about their time on their shows and what they did after the shows were over. You're listening to a special edition of Andrew Carter, The Archives, on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
Girl, I guess.
Now an update from the CJAD 800 Traffic Center.
Weekend long road work continues on the
Okay.
South shut down.
Hope you're not planning on going anywhere today. Because apparently gridlock. What? Apparently just this island of Montreal is gridlocked. Like the 40 is like completely closed. Something on Gawain, but like literally there was an accident on Gawain that is like putting everything to a dead stop. But they said that at like 9 o'clock this morning. And they're still like, oh yeah, Gawain's still fucked up. I was like, what? Isn't that like 50 kilometers on the street? Yeah, why? There's breakfast there for you, by the way. Who? What? Yeah, there's breakfast there for you.
Hold on. Anthony? Yeah. Hold on.
You fucking took a sleep or some shit.
Hey?
You fucking kind of like calmed down a little bit.
No, I'm not.
Never sleep this much. Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm glad you're very concerned about me almost getting run over last night as well. Enjoy. Everyone. Hopefully all my hair doesn't fall out. Just kind of like burn off my head. way. I think I know why that ticket never showed up here for the walking the dog. They don't have access. They don't actually have any authority to be able to issue people tickets. Apparently, it's the equivalent of what they were doing is basically a citizen's arrest, and they basically are just taking your information and then passing it off to the authorities, and the authorities are then the one who send you the ticket around. So if you just be like, I'm just gonna walk away. If you want to call the police, then call the police.
No.
But they'll just basically follow you home is about all that's gonna happen. Like, so basically, if I'm homeless, I could just be like, well, here's my home, and you can go fuck yourself, and you can call somebody about it, because I walk past cops constantly with the dog off leash. I never even thought about it. It never occurred to me that the cops might stop me, but they never have. So, one more thing that I'm not fucking crazy about. That's just good to know. Very good to know. I found out it wasn't fucking fun, right? Hopefully you're not gonna have me killed. God, stop. Oh, yeah. I don't think you're gonna understand how long I've been waiting for a fucking McGriddle. And it took for fucking ever. But like there was a van in front of me. They're from Texas. There was so many human beings in that van, like a lot of people in that van. Anyway, I really just had it. I just saw it. They obviously do not have the same experiences whenever they go to McDonald's. Because they know how to fucking eat. I thoroughly enjoy it when the fucking morning crew jumps on board with shit. After talking a bunch of shit about the night cruise. Calling them fucking pieces of shit like fucking... There we go. I'm allergic to the sun. You ever hear of a place called Morello's? Have you ever heard of a place called Morello's? Morello. It's a restaurant bar. It is. 10 points awarded to you. 10 points awarded to you. Oh, okay. So you're going to terrace lot or? Nothing. I was wondering if you know it. I'm just surprised that they were fucking advertising for it on the radio. That's what the prize was for the questions. Was a gift certificate from Morello's. Didn't even know there was a restaurant next to that place. Especially didn't know there was a fucking bar attached to it. That's okay. I don't want to be in the Cool Cut Kids Club anyway. Oh, it's so cute. Really funny. Damn it. Janet. Okay. So that's good. Oh, well, since actually Jack one of your straws, I guess. How is that biodegradable? I feel like I'm tricked, so. What is that even for? What is Browns? I feel like I have a lot of those bags. I don't even know what it is. Assuming a store. There we go. Okay. Apparently there's just like a ridiculous amount of people who walk around with machete. I find that interesting. They used to collect weapons. Like ninja weapons. They were good though. Okay.
Oh, by the way, your little whoever came this morning, the douchey looking kid, white van or white SUV. Super subtle, by the way. First of all, the value you gave him was like completely see-through. Second, kid drove away and then came back around, parked, got out of the car, and picked something up off the fucking between the curb and the road, and then went back in the car, drove away. I was like, did you drop like your joint or like? And you just bought multiple boxes backwards. I can't imagine your joint is like enough for you to drive all the way back here for. Or maybe it was something else you dropped. I don't know. I didn't see exactly if it was a joint, but whatever. Very discreet. Then again, I don't like it when he gives a shit, so. Also almost got fucking run over last night. That's another thing. What the fuck ever.